Hey, this is Notser, and we're in the Shimakaze. The Shimakaze is the Tier 10 Japanese destroyer. I think for a long time, players could look at this ship and say, irrelevant. You know, like the Borg. It's just one of those ships that it was all or nothing. 15 torpedoes is so extreme compared to every other ship in the game. Of course, then you have the Shiratsuyu, who can bring in 16 with a sort of a tweak with a consumable. However, I think we can no longer justify the irrelevant tag for the Shimakaze. I think with the recent buffs to the turret traverse and the concealment of the torpedoes, she's actually in a pretty fair spot. And hopefully this game on Warrior's Path is going to show you just how good it can be if played correctly and everything works out. That's always been the case with a torpedo system. Even in my German games or my American games, I rely so heavily on the player's inability to perceive the threat that is imminent to their ship. Either a combination of being lazy or relying on others to do it. Don't rely on other people to do anything for you in this world. Nobody's going to do it. You've got to take charge. Go after those destroyers. Go after those torpedoes and really manhandle them. Then they're not going to push you around. They're not going to punish anything that you try and do. But in the Shimakaze, in a world of passive play, can she actually be effective? Well, clearly the objective play is one thing that destroyers will always be effective at. And we captured with our teammate. Aircraft is overhead detecting us. However, based on the enemy's deployment, I would hazard to guess they have agreed upon a B-C strat. Now, it's pretty obvious you should choose two bases next to each other to focus on. I hope that's obvious, everyone. But you would be surprised how many people will go like, let's go AC. Well, why would we do that? We're so extended out that we can't actually support both flanks. Sounds like a good idea. So we captured A point, no longer needed on this flank. As the Shimakaze, I've got great concealment, and I'm going to try and move closer to the enemy. I do have torpedo acceleration. It does limit the range of the overall torpedo system. However, I don't think you need range if you play it within the bounds of your ship. Obviously, you need enough range that you won't be detected whenever you're trying to get in range to use those torpedoes, right? If you move into the territory and you're detected, it's probably a bad strat. But as long as you're comfortable operating ahead or behind any enemy ship, you're fine. You're good to go. And look at what we've got here. An enemy Khabarovsk is rather low, and I'm not detected. Just barely not detected because of the island blocking line of sight. So I think I'm going to assist my team because they are here, and we're going to go after this enemy destroyer. He's very low. Plus, my teammates are making him even lower. How low can you go, baby? Well, hopefully it is 0 because I'm going to assist in the destruction of you. And we did 443 damage. Just enough to kill him. Enemy gearing is trying to crash down on my friendly gearing. This is an extreme scenario. I don't think that every single Shimakaze captain will volunteer with their guns firing. Because they're like, he's already dead. Leave him. Let him die. Not today. I will do everything in my power. Also, I'm going to keep the island in between me and the enemy cruiser. The Zal, last known position. And I think he's going to survive. He's sitting in a corner. All alone. With no one there beside him. And I'm going to be his friend. I'm going to go over and assist in the capture of B point. Just got to get off the island a little bit. Do a quick check. Okay, we've got a enemy North Carolina, enemy Yamato. The Zal last spotted somewhere over by C point, so I don't have to worry about that particular ship, and that's scary. But we kept the teammate alive. We assisted in him surviving. I really want to encourage players to do just that. Obviously, don't overextend to kill yourself, but when given an opportunity to supply a little bit of DPS towards a target that is focusing down a friendly, and your team is in trouble in the health department, It makes all the difference in the world if you get 1 or 2 or 3 salvos, 2 or 3,000 damage. Between 3 or 4 ships, that's a whole destroyer. So don't hold back. Keeping our destroyer up and taking theirs out is far more important. Maybe trading a little bit of health on my... That's not a big deal. That's not a big deal at all. So the team has captured A and B point. We don't have to worry about protecting A because the enemy is nowhere close. I wander a little bit close to aircraft, but I'm trying to get within torpedo range to send against the North Carolina. And that's what we do. We do have our smoke. It's not completely ridiculous, okay? This seems ridiculous. No, I have smoke. I wouldn't do this otherwise. Enemy Zhao tries to predict our shot, but he can't. We stopped in time, and he didn't do any damage. Now, I believe that the North Carolina can indeed see my torpedoes, but I don't know how much he can actually do about it, because the torpedoes are going to get there quick, and any angle he changes to, he won't be able to fire, or he'll take fire from somewhere else on my flank. So I'm just hoping he's just going to be stubborn and take him. And we hit 2. Any more? A 3rd. He's barely alive. Looks like he's actually going to flood out. He was slow on the reaction. I don't even... maybe he didn't see him. Either way, he's defeated. Man, Japanese torpedoes do a ton of damage. Oh. You can easily kill any ship 100-0 with 1 or 2 salvos of it, let alone all 3. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Now, you might notice my technique. I'm using 2. It's a 2-1, 1-2, 2-1, 1-2. That's generally what you want to do because it is extreme overkill to use all 3 torpedoes. We were talking about, what's the average damage? 20,000 per torpedo? 20,000 times 15. Yeah, that's a big, big, big number. There's not a single ship, there's not multiple ships that have that kind of health. So there's no reason to send all 3 at a single target. Now, maybe if you miss really bad, you have the follow-up, and that's a completely different scenario than committing to sending 2, committing to sending 1. If the person is turning abruptly, then you have that follow-up, which is obviously much better than sending all 3 in a given direction. It's just so much overkill. So, enemies trying to crash away from C point, I could choose to send torpedoes in that gap. The Yamato might push for the gap. However, I don't believe he will survive long enough for my torpedoes to be effective against him. I'm going to go for that Kurosakura first. The Super Grover. We will take him down. That's the plan. But I need to get around the island a little bit. And yeah, some people would be like, don't trust your teammates to play the game correctly. And I would say to you, well, you've already lost. Because if you can't hitch a ride on someone, at least one person that you see is competent, if you give them a chance, maybe they'll carry an aspect of the game that you just can't. I can't do a lot of HE damage or AP damage or tank ability, but maybe a cruiser or a battleship can. So we sent against the Kurosakura first, trying to maybe send against the Izumo, but he is moving rapidly to his top speed, and he's going to probably go around the island. Friendly Zhao is going to hit a couple torpedoes. Now, he doesn't do quite the damage that my torpedoes do. We finish off the Kurosakura first, and boy, that was a torpedo soup. Full of torpedoes, both friendly and foe. Ally is sitting in smoke. It's important that you trade off with a friendly destroyer. It really is. Check to make sure. I fired my gun for whatever reason to get a little chip damage. Knew he was going to die. Teammates have really dominated this flank with torpedoes and finishing off targets very effectively. There is really a difficult task ahead of the enemy if they intend to bring this back. And I don't want them to bring it back, so I'm going to move forward and attempt to torpedo the Yamato. Yamato is notorious for absorbing torpedo damage like no other ship in the game. It's got like 58% torpedo reduction from its torpedo boat. That's insane. So you're really hoping to get the nose or the stern, where it isn't protected. As the Yamato, you really are kind of in a crapshoot. Either you dodge out of the way and you get it on the nose where it does full damage, or you take 2 or 3 on the side where it does 50% of the damage, and the total damage is actually exactly the same. And I sort of read that the Yamato wanted to stop, become bow on, and back up, so I wasn't really concerned about leading him too much. I just wanted to send a couple in the general direction that he might slow down. And it does look like our torpedoes will indeed get to the target. Now, I don't know how much damage it's going to do. I think I need at least 2, and 1 on a location that isn't protected. Oh, we got lucky. Did you see where those torpedoes hit? The bow and the stern, perfectly outside of his protection, did basically full damage on it, both of them, and it's kind of humorous. It couldn't have been better. Enemy Hindenburg is moving in the territory, and catch sight of what I just did. Anyone know what I just did? I made a mistake. I was so preoccupied with the idea that I need to kill the Hindenburg and get more damage down that I actually sent directly at the dead husk of the Yamato. Pop my smoke, friendly gearing. He should pay it back, pay it forward. I was providing intel for him. He'll provide intel for me. But look at all these beautiful torpedoes that would have devastated the target. I do still hit 1 torpedo on the nose, but only one. Only one. If I would have paused, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, we would have hit him with 2, 3. Ends up we didn't. I do have AP loaded, and he is broadside, so that's the best thing I can do. 3,000 per salvo is pretty good to me. But it is humorous that I was just so excited at the potential Kraken that I sent torpedoes directly at a target that I already killed. It happens. It's the way it goes. No one's perfect. I'm certainly not. I don't pretend to be. I hope you enjoy these flubs from time to time, because I'm sure many of you are like, yeah, I probably would have done the same thing. However, it was an okay game, I think. 4 kills, 155,000 damage done, 2,130 base XP. Friendly Gearing did a great job, so of course I'm going to vote him up. Most of my damage was in torpedoes. However, we did around 20,000 with our guns, which isn't insignificant. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the Shimakaze in action. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.